This is so cool. Like, it's subtle, but it's so cool because you could be throwing different foods and it doesn't matter if your plate on one day is 500 calories, if a plate on another day is 700. You now have a portion guideline to plug in all sorts of different foods for variety, still knowing that it's generally going to work great for you. So what a lot of our fit fathers and fit mothers do is this. They standardize that first meal of the day, whether they're doing it after a fast or they're doing it just from regular eating at breakfast. They standardize it to some kind of eggs or a shake or something. So that's standardized, it's good, it's healthy. They have a lunch that's often leftovers from dinner, or it's a salad, or it's some kind of healthy sandwich recipe, but it's a go-to lunch. And then for dinner, they introduce this perfect plate for variety. And knowing that your perfect plate is going to fall somewhere in this 500 to 700 calorie range is absolutely amazing. Hey there, my friend. Welcome back. This is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi, founder and CEO here at the Fit Father Project and the host of the Fit Father and Fit Mother podcasts. And I'm super excited to have you tune in to today's episode because we're going to be talking about a very powerful nutrition concept that my team and I incorporate into all of our phase 1 programs. For our phase 1 Fit Father program, our phase 1 Fit Mother program, we incorporate this idea of the perfect plate into our strategies to help you make it easier to eat the right number of calories without needing to actually count calories. So in this video and in this episode and in this podcast, what I want to do is effectively give you the argument of why the perfect plate is great and show you exactly what's in a perfect plate so you can start trying this out for yourself and seeing the results and the freedom that can come from approaching your meals like this. But before we get there, I got to talk a little bit about the big picture concept of good nutrition. Good nutrition is not just about the types of foods that you're eating, like healthy foods versus unhealthy foods. We all have the idea that maybe the lean proteins, fruits, and veggies are better for us than the chips, snacks, fried, processed foods, right? So that's one variable. But the second variable is we need to eat the right number of calories. Because if you're eating broccoli, but you're eating way too few calories throughout the day, that actually causes a stress on your body, and that's not optimal nutrition. Vice versa. Let's just say you are eating healthy foods, but you're eating a ton of them, way too much quantity, that also is going to cause your body to store fat and might not be optimal nutrition. So we got to kind of converge our nutrition strategies onto the right number of calories, both for your goals, but generally speaking, that comes down to every meal that you eat, that you're roughly getting the right number of calories. And it turns out for most people in most situations that a good target for a number of calories in a meal is around 500 to 600 calories. This is something that I can say as a general blanket statement, because if we look at the calorie expenditures of men and women throughout the day, let's just say most people are burning anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 calories. This obviously adjusts for you based on your age, your weight, your gender, your activity levels. You could be burning far more than that. You could be burning far less than that. But for the sake of argument, it's like a pretty good ballpark figure. So if we're saying that we're roughly burning 2,000 to 2,500 calories per day, and maybe we're having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, what that ends up meaning is that we're roughly getting meals that are around 600 calories. Maybe it's like happening 3 times per day, and we have a snack in there, and that falls us inside that calorie target. Now, it also kind of begs this next point that if you, depending on your meal timing schedule setup, let's say you do fast, and you're having fewer meals, then the meals that you do have are naturally going to be bigger in volume and in calories. So if you're having 1 to 2 meals a day, then you might be eating 1,000, 1,500 calories and all this stuff. And you're going to need to modify that. And that's just, I want to point that out, but I also want to come back to this idea of the perfect plate because it's still very beneficial in the scenarios of looking at fasting. What a perfect plate is a portion rule guideline that roughly makes plates that are anywhere from 500, let's say, to 700 calories, depending on what's on there. I want you to imagine a plate, an empty white plate it's there in front of you. It's a regular dinner-sized plate. The first thing in the perfect plate idea is that we fill half of that plate with green stuff. The reason that's a really good idea is because it gives you fiber. It typically means you're putting a vegetable on there. You get lots of micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and it makes sure that at least half of the food that you end up putting on that plate is very nutrient dense, but low in calories. It's filling, nutrient dense, low in calories. So good, half the plate is some kind of green thing. So what's on there? Well, could be some kind of salad, a salad that you put, a little side salad. It could be some steamed broccoli. It could be asparagus. It could be all sorts of different vegetables that you like, but some kind of fibrous vegetable, and like that's not like a starchy vegetable. That's not like a potato. That's not like, squash. It's something that's like more green and fibrous, whatever you and your family like. Half of the plate is that. A quarter of the plate ends up being some kind of protein you love. So we have half filled with veggies, a quarter is some kind of protein. This can be any kind of protein source. It could be some kind of poultry. It could be some kind of beef, some kind of seafood, some kind of plant-based source. You can really fill whatever you want. The specific food that you put on there doesn't nearly matter as much as the portion. Because it turns out that around, let's just say, six ounces of chicken has very comparable calories to 6 ounces of steak. Sure, the fat compositions are a little different, but they're very similar. So you can sub in a whole bunch of different foods, and it might adjust the calories of the meal just a little bit, but it ends up working out just right. This plate that we're building ends up having around 500 calories. The final quarter of your plate is filled with healthy carbs or healthy fats. So if you're someone who does enjoy carbohydrates, maybe this is a perfect plate for dinner. You might have around a cup of some kind of rice, a cup of sweet potatoes, or something like that. Just this cup portion, a quarter of your plate of some kind of carbohydrate. Turns out that that's probably going to be anywhere from 50 to, I'd say, 80 grams of carbs, which ends up being anywhere from 250 to 300 calories. So we have around 300 calories that come there. You could also be doing this through healthy fats. If you're not someone who likes to eat a lot of carbs, you could be putting avocado on there. You could be putting different kinds of nuts and stuff on there. Like, you can get these calories also in this quarter from healthy fats. But the idea here is if you do this portion layout and we start to add up the math of like that half of the plate that was filled with veggies ends up being around 100 to 150 calories. You're getting around, let's just say, 300 calories on the high side from that carbohydrate or fat portion. We're sitting now at 400 calories or so, 450, and then the protein is probably giving you another 150 to 200 calories. That lands us right there, anywhere from this 500 to 700 calorie range. This is so cool. Like, it's subtle, but it's so cool because you could be throwing different foods and it doesn't matter if your plate on one day is 500 calories, if a plate on another day is 700. You now have a portion guideline to plug in all sorts of different foods for variety, still knowing that it's generally going to work great for you. So what a lot of our fit fathers and fit mothers do is this. They standardize that first meal of the day, whether they're doing it after a fast or they're doing it just from regular eating at breakfast. They standardize it to some kind of eggs or a shake or something. So that's standardized, it's good, it's healthy. They have a lunch that's often leftovers from dinner, or it's a salad, or it's some kind of healthy sandwich recipe, but it's a go-to lunch. And then for dinner, they introduce this perfect plate for variety. And knowing that your perfect plate is going to fall somewhere in this 500 to 700 calorie range is absolutely amazing. And this is what like restaurants who try to do healthy stuff on the menu do. They often have like the 500 calorie menu where you open it up. And what are these 500 calorie menus? They're strictly perfect plates. If you look at what it is, it's going to be a piece of fish or a piece of chicken or steak with a big side of some steamed vegetables that has some butter or whatever else they put on there. And maybe it has a little bit of carbohydrate or maybe it doesn't. But these plates end up always being around 500 to 700 calories. And if you're having these types of things a couple times per day, 1-2 times per day with a standardized healthy breakfast, turns out you're roughly going to be eating the right number of calories. Now, you can adjust this for yourself and start to use some intuition. We have an episode on intuitive nutrition and intuitive eating that I definitely recommend you check out about how you can start to dial this in more for you. But the idea is this: by having some simple portion guidelines on your plates, you can start to eat healthier basically automatically. Control your calories in your portions, feel full, and you don't actually have to count those calories, because over the net, you're going to be in good calorie balance. You're going to be losing weight. If you have weight to lose, your body will naturally start to glide down when your plates are around this amount. And over time, you start to lean up, and then your weight starts to normalize. And that's all very good stuff for your health, getting the weight off. So that's the perfect plate guidelines. And if you join our programs, we actually give you like a full recipes book with like 21, 30 plus different perfect plates that you can make that are very simple, exact recipes to follow, and some more guidance on how to dial this perfect plate concept in. It is so liberating. You're going to hear people who are on our Fit Mother and Fit Father podcasts that are talking about their success stories. They're going to talk about the perfect plate idea. And I want to introduce it to you on this episode, and I want you to come deeper with us in our program so I can really help you make this an action in your life and show you the true power of this through implementation of information into action. But that's it for today. The perfect plate idea: half of your plate with green stuff, a quarter of your plate with protein, a quarter of your plate with some kind of healthy carbs or healthy fats, and your portions are going to end up being great for your health and your overall life. Thanks for being here, my friend. I hope you found this valuable. If you like this, make sure you hit the thumbs up if you're watching the video on our YouTube channels, that you rate and review us and give us a great 5 stars if you're listening on some kind of podcast platform. We truly appreciate your support. I'm grateful that you're listening to this podcast. Please share this with your friends and family. Let's grow this community, this show together, because our team, we're committed to helping you live healthy for yourself and your family, and want to inspire the rest of the world to do the same. Thanks for being here, my friend. I'll see you in future episodes, and I'll talk to you very soon.